force. Are you kidding me?
Hey, what's up? It's Mr. Young.
And it's for in the building. How are you, brother?
That's right. I am okay, considering now everyone's back out.
Yeah.
Out in the world. Phase 2 is here and everything. What about yourself, man?
Yeah, man. I went out during the weekend.
Okay.
Cautiously.
Yes.
Checked out the area. I was in Esplanade, if I'm not wrong. So people are slowly getting back to, their daily lives. It's crowded now. It's a new normal.
Yeah, it defeats the whole purpose, right? The crowds, though. That's why I'm giving it at least 2 weeks before I start, quote unquote, going out and hanging out. So I'm still staying at home, only getting my essentials when I need to, and that's it.
Like if you're living in a rainforest, we are the animals right now. You are probably the squirrel.
Oh, right.
Or is it the meerkat, the one that just waits for the right moment to come out?
Just see first. Okay, no. Give it a few more weeks. No.
Yeah, man.
But I guess it's a privilege to be able to stay at home. So, and anyway, we all have to go out soon because the elections are coming, huh?
Oh, bro, there is news cycle after news cycle, news topic after news topic. All the headlines are just one after the other, man. It's really hard to keep track.
Absolutely. Of course, we are talking about our daily lives. As it relates to wrestling, though, okay, a little bit later on the show, we are going to talk about the legacy of The Undertaker after, of course, his big reveal that he is retiring, in the last episode of The Last Ride.
Supposedly.
Yeah. You watch that show and you're like, oh, man, it is time. And he even says it. But, okay, you know what? Let's not go there yet because we want to talk about something else first. And this is something that you hear rumors about. And it's been passed down in story form. People say, oh, this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened. But now it's almost as if the day of reckoning has come for pro wrestling in terms of abuse, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, mental abuse. All these stories that have been coming out via the hashtag speaking out movement. It's like the Me Too movement, but pro wrestling's version of it.
Yeah, and it started out in the UK. I think the British wrestling scene got hit really, really hard. A lot of NXT UK wrestlers were affected. Former NXT champion Jordan Devlin, Travis Banks, Moustache Mountain.
Yep.
There was a lot of allegations being put across from them, and a lot of female wrestlers came out, to share their experiences. And as always, how we grew up on the Attitude Era. I mean, a lot of us,
sure.
Are aware of the sex, the violence, there's misogyny, there's all kinds of crazy controversial stuff that went down in the Attitude Era. One of the big reasons why a lot of parents didn't like us watching wrestling back in the day, but it was such a taboo thing, I want to check it out, what this is all about. And I think a good point that was raised by one particular, female perspective, somebody said, all these wrestlers, they grew up on the hedonistic vices of the Attitude Era, and when they become wrestlers themselves, automatically they assume that, okay, this is kind of the rock and roll lifestyle that I'm gonna live. Ric Flair is a huge proponent of that, and for better or for worse, that's his entire gimmick, right?
Yeah.
But when real stories of actual sexual violence and misogyny and harassment come out, these are real stories. And when people say, oh, why they only tell their story now, why they choose this moment to speak out. And I had a lot of conversations with people around me. I think a lot of wrestling fans, people in outside the industry, even my own girlfriend, and I spoke to them about this. We are just on the heels of the whole "Okay, Let's Go" controversy, correct, bro?
Yes. Obviously, I don't listen to OK, Let's Go. And I obviously have been keeping up with it as well. And we've talked about this off air. Also, Foreign has been explaining to me what exactly goes on these shows, It's interesting because, we talk about the Attitude Era just now, right? And yes, there was a lot of depiction. But then this is not just a pro wrestling issue. So I don't think that should even be an excuse. This has been an issue, is a human issue. It's a shitty people doing shitty things issue, right? It just so happens that now, after this hashtag speaking out movement kind of went viral and became big, right? That we are realizing, okay, even our beloved entertainment industry, which is what pro wrestling is at the end of the day, is not immune to it as well. But it's not just this. It's so many things that we watch on television, the entertainment. I mean, the Me Too movement started out because of that Weinstein fella, right?
Harvey Weinstein, yeah.
Yeah, but not just entertainment scene. I'm 100%, I guarantee you in every walk of life, somebody has tried to, harass, be it sexually or emotionally or physically, somebody else. And victims, now anyway, they feel like, okay, we have the voice because there is power in solidarity. When we come together, we support each other, which is great. It's great that the lid has been blown off this whole thing. But I don't know, to point to one or two or three things, it is the whole environment of how people are growing up and what they perceive to be right, wrong, what they are quote unquote entitled to.
True.
I think that's the problem.
There's no justifying actions.
No.
There's no justifying like, oh, okay, I grew up in this environment, that's why I feel it's okay to talk like that.
Yep.
I mean, if it's wrong, it's wrong. Certain things in life, it is black and white, and we talk about how it grew in the British UK's wrestling scene.
Yep.
Some big names in WWE across the pond got affected. Allegations. They it haven't been proven yet. But there have been a list compiled. Crazy man names from Matt Riddle to Jim Cornette to Dave Lagana from NWA.
Well, Jim Cornette's one is rather interesting because it's Jim Cornette and his wife, Stacey Cornette. Now, they've been accused of acting inappropriately with wrestlers, coercing them into sexual acts with Jim Cornette watching. So I guess that's their thing. Like, okay, to be fair,
I guess lah.
Yeah, to be fair, like if that is your thing and everyone there is a willing participant and there's no coercion, there's no, if you do this, you'll get a higher placement on the card, then, who are we to judge, right? If that's your thing, that's your thing. But what they are alleging is that they are being, quote unquote, forced or persuaded to do it just to get spots on the card, which obviously is wrong, right? This was backed up by several OVW performers, and even like Joey Janela, he like a few years ago he mentioned before something about a hot tub party with Jim Cornette when they were going back and forth on Twitter.
Oh, so he used it as a as a comeback lah.
Yeah, this is what he meant. All these years later, all this time later, it's like, okay, that's what he was talking about. What hot tub party? Or
but he didn't blow the lid off at that point in time, yeah.
No, I guess it was one of those things that, like, stories you've heard
if
about.
If you know.
Yeah, and like I said, like even through my own experience growing up in the radio industry, right? I've heard stories as well, but it's not my business to blow the lid off the thing because, or back then anyway, that was my thinking, right? So it didn't happen to me, nor did it happen to somebody I know directly, nor did I see it. So how can I say something about it? You know what I mean?
Understood.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, how some people can get away with things in the name of gimmick, in the name of, it's acting or what. Joey Ryan, bro, his entire gimmick is, having people touch his dicks, doing boob suplexes. Oh. And do you know about this?
No. So
okay. So you have no idea about what Joey Ryan does or like his entire gimmick all about.
Okay, so I guess, but the question is consent.
Yes.
Right?
So what I'm trying to say is he lived his gimmick of I'm like a so-called like a very like a dirty porn actor kind of like Val Venus type of character.
Yeah.
And like, he has like a dick of steel. Basically when he can't be low blowed, people play along with the gimmick of, if they try to squeeze his dick or they try to low blow him, they will react and sell the pain of the hand. That's his whole entire deal. You should check it out, okay? But yeah, so that is fine. And he even has a lot of intergender matches where he fights with girls and he will do things like, boob suplexes, basically where he grabs the boobs and he does a suplex and do a lot of these compromising positions with the girls.
Yeah.
And it reaches to a certain extent where you can play it off, okay, fine, give me blah, blah, blah. And a lot of promoters, kind of like, force these girls and say, hey, you want to get on the card? You want to fight against Joey? He'll be there, that kind of thing. So it's not as if like they don't want to speak out or they are truly uncomfortable, but in the name of being paid or being on the card and having the clout, because he did go viral. He's his dick antics, he was even in All Out, for example. But it took a more sinister turn when behind the scenes, every show that he booked with, that he got booked at, he tried to hit on some of the female talents, ask them to drive him around.
Right.
He back to the hotel. So, all these things, probably the girls kept it to themselves for a long, long time because they're ashamed. They didn't want to get affected and influenced by the promoters.
So this fella essentially booked himself into a work lah. He bought his own character, bought into his own bullshit. See, to me, I feel like, okay, and when we talk about intergender matches as well, right? A lot of it is you put your trust in your partner. That's what pro wrestling is all about.
Yep.
And when you talk about intergender, well, there's a lot more trust that has to go into it. And I know, I'm pretty sure a lot of these men and women who do these intergender matches know that, okay, we're going to do moves to each other and it might involve grabbing each other. But then sort of there's that consensus like, all right, this is for the sake of the art, right?
Yep.
It's a very gray area too, because then you bring up the fact that, oh, okay, well, they're doing it because they want to be on the card or they want to be high up in the promotion, whatever the case may be. So, like, I don't know,
It's okay. It's tough because, sometimes what if you created that gimmick so that you can kind of like live out your own fantasies in a way?
Correct.
Some people use that as an excuse. When people in the film industry talk about, directors asking his lead actors and actresses to do like a nude scene and not do simulated sex, but actually unsimulated sex, there have been stories going out, and years later, they express regret for doing so. So there's a lot of powerful men, using their influence for the wrong things, and it's spilling out in the wrestling industry, especially after in the wake of the speaking out movement.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's no way to get into a person's head to find out their motives. Are they doing it for the art, or are they doing it because of some sort of sick, perverse pleasure? And, here's the other thing as well. For everyone who's hurt and devastated and traumatized by things like these, right? There are also people who will do anything they can to move ahead in life, in the company, So it all becomes a big, okay, what is your intent here? And I think quite simply, but then again, this is not a simple matter, right? No means no. Silence means no. And what means no? I don't know.
I mean, I find myself personally to be in a very tough position because, man, you and me, young bro, we have this platform where we can talk about wrestling, and we do have people who interact with us, and we have this community with us, and it's all local wrestling fans here in Singapore and around the region. And when certain things happen, I think there's an expectation on us to respond.
Yep.
And we are not trying to say that we want to ignore, anything that comes out that, that kind of cheapens the name of pro wrestling. We want to be just like any other fan. When we see news, we are affected by it, and we privately have our own thoughts about it. But I think it's very, very important, especially, given our platform, if there is a stance that that we believe very much in, we should be we should have conviction, in standing up for certain things and morals.
I think that you just said it, standing up for certain things and morals. If they say no, if somebody says no, if you put other people at a disadvantage or you abuse your position of power or privilege, right? Then obviously you're in the wrong. Don't be a shitty person at the end of the day. If somebody comes to you and and harasses you in that way, would you feel the same way?
No.
And if it makes you uncomfortable, then you shouldn't do the same to somebody else, That's what it is at the end of the day. And not just in pro wrestling, in life. Because a lot of times too, I think you don't realize the amount of power you hold over somebody, whether you intend to or not. Let me give you an example, okay? Well, as you know, I work at a radio station, right? And at Power. And one of my fellow DJs, a younger one, when she first came in, I asked her, hey, do you want to go and run a 10K? Do you want to train for a 10K?
Yeah.
And then she said, yeah, sure. Right. I was like, oh, okay, cool. You want to train for a 10K together? That's great, right? Only after a few months, when I talked to her about it, she was like, actually, I didn't really want to do it, But because I was new, and I was like, holy shit, okay. Like, if she at that point had said, actually, I don't want to train for the 10K, I've been like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But you don't realize, you don't think about like, oh, they actually are just saying it because they are afraid of this, that, and the other thing. Whether you intend to put them in that situation or not, So I think it's very important to just be more sensitive and not be entitled. I think there's this, especially with, you know how it is, right? We've been in locker rooms before as well. There's a lot of that quote unquote locker room talk. And it's been labeled as locker room talk. It's just shitty behavior.
Yeah.
Because not all locker rooms are like that. There are respectful boys and men out there. Or women too. Because here's the thing, it goes the other way too. There are women who abuse their power as well. But that's not what we're talking about here today, lah.
And you're right. You know, it goes both ways. But I do feel in this particular case, it's very hard for us to talk about this. And as sincere as we can be, you know, and as honest as our thoughts be, and fair-minded, you know, taking into account, you know, how women feel and what they've gone through in their experiences. We are not in any position, you know, to advise or, you know, talk about this. Say like we are some sort of expert in this matter. At the end of the day, what we're just two dudes, and we have loving partners. You know, we have women around in our lives that we respect, and we try to show as much respect to them as possible. And when we see situations where, you know, other people are disrespecting or abusing their privilege, I think mostly what victims would have preferred if, you know, their trauma, whatever they went through, it's not being allowed, you know. People who see what's going on, they are complicit in their behavior if they don't speak out. And there is too many examples of us, you know, guys, when we see certain things, we are like, oh man, I don't want to get involved in that, but that's fucked up. But we could have gotten involved and we could have said, hey, that's wrong, bro. And, you know, I hope through this whatever episode that went down, I think it opens more of our eyes, especially, like I said, like we have male wrestlers who do stand by these women who have gone through this harassment. We have fans like us, you know, in the community. You know, we like to think of ourselves as people who care about the women in our lives, and we don't want to get anyone affected. So we all have to be the one that stands up and speak up as well.
Talking about speaking out, of course, SPW and Grapple Max, they have all issued statements condemning such, you know, practices. And a little bit closer to home, because, okay, we already mentioned Jack Gallagher, Matt Riddle, Jordan Devlin, all facing allegations. Jack Gallagher was actually released by the WWE, right? Sammy Guevara said some very unsavory things about Sasha Banks. I think this was a while back on Twitter. He was suspended. So AEW is doing their thing as well. But then closer to home, and okay, this is a person we've had on the show before. Alex Cuevas.
Correct. And we've had him twice.
That's right.
One time when he was part of Grapple Max, and another time last year where he just recently joined SPW. And he, you know, he's a young guy, and you know, I could see when we first interviewed him, we got to know him. He's a guy who is really confident in his ability. He's confident in his looks. I dare say he had a, you know, like an arrogance about him, and we always, you know, thought of it as like, oh, okay, just a, you know, young kid, you know, who's excited to see the world and you know, believes in himself. Like, okay, cool. And I even label him like, hey, well, this is an upcoming local wrestler. Everyone should keep an eye out. He's a rising star. He has the natural ability. So when the allegations, whatever came out, you know, over the past week, it was shocking to both of us.
Yeah. You know, he's since gone radio silent. We haven't heard his side of the story yet, so I don't know what that means. You know, it doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying that that's the case, right? But there have been quite a few allegations against him. Some really, 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 really serious. It's all bad. It's all serious. But some are like, whoa, like what? We have actually reached out to some of the people who, quote unquote, spoke out, you know, on social media, who have written about their experiences with Alex. And of course, at this point, you know, we invited them, you know, anytime they feel comfortable, and only when they feel comfortable, because let's not forget, right? They may have put it out there in a statement on Twitter, but to actually talk about it, to quote unquote relive it by speaking of it, it's not an easy thing, you know, it's traumatizing. So only when they're ready. I mean, this is, the platform is open, you know, to them.
And the thing about it is, it's raw. It's still hurting a lot of people. I think it has taken a lot of people by surprise. it has reached a point where even people outside of, like wrestling fans, people who kind of have only have like very vague idea what is SPW. They reach out to me and like, bro, what's going on in wrestling in Singapore, man? And then I'm like, oh man, I don't want to go into deep detail and explain whatever's going on. So I just say,
I'll say it again. It's not a wrestling problem. It's not a media. It's not an entertainment business problem. It's a shitty people problem. It is people who are entitled, who won't take no for an answer, can't take no for an answer. Shitty people doing shitty things. So,
Once again, you were saying about how we've reached out to these women, and we wanted to let them know that it's a safe space on our side if you ever feel the need to have a platform. And the intention for doing that is not for them to relive their stories. Even if they don't want to talk about it, it's fine. But it's wanting to send out a message. If they do have any message they want to put across about, respect, about consent and all that kind of stuff, I think it would be better coming from a female voice, a strong female voice that can voice this out, without our biases and prejudices as a guy.
And also to let you listening in understand the pain and distress and trauma, obviously we can't experience it as how they have experienced it, right? But to hear them talk about it, to read their stories, I think, you have to look back at yourself. It's like, would I ever want to feel that? Of course not. So let's not have that happen to anybody at all. I don't think we can do justice by telling their stories. So I rather if you are interested to find out what has happened, to go to their Twitter accounts to read their statements, what they've said for yourself. And like I said, when the time is right, when they're comfortable, they are welcome on the show anytime.
We've put out like a post on Instagram as well, on our Instagram page, Kick to the Gut, and we've really directed the names. We've mentioned the names all over there. So we don't want to give more clout to anyone that's been that has been guilty of doing any of these terrible crime. But all we can say on this podcast is we are stating facts, whatever facts that we are aware of. We just state it, do what you want with the information, and leave it to your own interpretation. All we know right now, as of now, is Alex Cuevas has been released from SPW. And at this point in time, the Mighty Dragon family, 2/3 of it, Kenneth Texera, aka the Eurasian Dragon, and Muhammad Taufik, aka Mighty, has been released as well. Jack Chong, Big Good Jack, all three of these people have been on the show recently, and numerous times. So Big Good Jack released a statement, saying his thoughts and feelings and his stand on the situation. He, it basically broke free from the Mighty Dragon family. Is no longer associated with them. This was of course announced before the departures of both the Dragon and Mighty. And both wrestlers have reached out to us, and vice versa. We've offered them an opportunity to provide a statement. And the only thing that we've approached Kenneth as well, and Kenneth said that what he's still open on his social media. He's willing to have dialogue with anyone who wants to talk to him about it and ask about the situation. You can reach out to him personally.
That's right. So, I mean, us as wrestling fans, I know we like to jump to conclusions. Oh, is it this, that, the other thing? This is one of those cases where, look, let the story develop. Let's not try to guess this, that, and the other thing. But one thing that is clear is that the people that have come out to express that how they've been, mistreated, abused in all these terrible ways, right? We need to listen to them. We need to stand with them, and we need to help them. If we see something like this in our own office, in our own daily lives, like we talk about misogynistic talk, people will just say these things. Oh, he's just joking. Oh, why are you so thick-skinned, bro? Thin-skinned. Why are you so sensitive? Well, it is time. It is time to say, hey, maybe that kind of talk is sending the wrong message. You reference, Okay, Let's Go, their podcast, I don't know what they talk about. I don't know how deep the misogyny or whatever goes, but I have seen a lot of comments about the issue as well. And I think as broadcasters, as people with a voice, we need to be a little bit more responsible. And here's the interesting thing, because they come from a radio background as well, and I'm still on radio, right? So I understand like, oh, finally you're free of the shackles of the boundaries that you were in. So I don't know if maybe that's like, oh, now we can talk how we usually talk backstage or how we usually talk, when we are at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you talk like that to your grandmother?
Yeah.
Would you talk like that to your mother? That's what I've always been told. And I still sort of have that, like, okay, yeah, I see what you mean,
And all this bullshit about, people saying, oh, this is uncensored, this is unscripted. Hey, I'm cursing right now. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you have an audience following of 100,000 people, those are 100,000 minds, both young and old, that you can influence,
Well, okay, here's my thing with quote unquote censorship and, ooh, bad word. Ooh, he said fuck. He must be such a terrible person. Look, judge me not on my words, but on the content of my meaning, what I've done, and my actions. All right?
Yep.
There's a big difference. If you just go by the word, right? Just think about this. Bro, I fucking love you. Oh, I say a bad word. But what did I mean? What was my intent? I'm telling you, bro, I love you, bro. I fucking love you. That's how much I love you. Versus if I said to you, bro, you're a piece of garbage. You're human excrement. Hey, I didn't swear, ma. All clean words. But the meaning, it means a totally different thing, right?
Yeah, it's a great point, bro. It's a great. And here's the thing about context. That is basically an explanation of context, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people who use this defense and say, oh, those words are taken out of context. I don't mean this, I don't mean that. But certain things cannot be taken out of context. It is black and white. If you're talking about like your perverted thoughts and do this, and yeah, it's fucked up, and it gives me food for thought as well. I do reflect as well, all those times, and we love the divas, for example, bro.
Sure.
Like we love our female wrestlers, and we definitely think certain, and a lot of them are attractive, and I will openly say, oh damn, she's hot, that kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
But then it crosses a line when someone like Sammy Guevara says, I want to rape Sasha Banks.
Yeah, that, like, what? That's not necessary. Okay,
you can just say, I want to go out on a date with Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
I feel like, and I don't know if any of these Okay Let's Go podcast hosts, they have kids or anything like that, right?
They do. They are married with kids, bro.
Do they have daughters?
I do not know about that, but I know they have young kids.
Because just imagine, like, one day I would like to be a father, right? And if anybody said that about my daughter,
bro, that finger become middle finger.
Not only middle finger, I jab this in their eye.
Oh my
okay, no, I'm just being whatever lah, but you know what I mean, right? If you have a young child, a boy or a girl, and somebody said or did such things to them, just think about that. How would you feel as a parent? Of course, you'd feel offended, angry, pissed off, right? So these people, they shouldn't be angry or surprised that people are coming at them for being insensitive, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. So like I said, I just want to wrap up this conversation.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the only thing that we have in common with them is we both have a podcast.
Sure.
But it's what you do with your platform. At the end of the day, it's what you do with your platform that defines you as a person. You can use it as a force of good, as a force of discussion and discourse, or you can use it to influence people to do fucked up shit. And okay, I give you one last example, bro. Say, for example, someone listens to Trump.
Okay.
And someone listens to Trump. And, they hear all this rhetoric and about hate speech and, being, racist against immigrants, building the wall, blah, blah, blah. And for example, for some reason, he goes and starts to do a killing spree and murder like a bunch of Mexicans or like Muslims.
Okay.
And then he's wearing a MAGA hat, for example. And before he killed all of them, he said, Trump is the bad, blah, blah, blah. Trump hates all of you. I'm gonna kill all of you, blah, blah, blah. In his name, are you really saying that? Oh, he's acting on his own accord?
Okay, I see what you mean.
You get what I mean? Yes, his actions might be his own. He did those and committed those acts. But the ideology, where was it influenced by?
It has to come from somewhere.
It has to come from somewhere. And if that person doesn't take responsibility for that ideology, obviously that's where it's perverted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't do shitty things. don't do something that you wouldn't want done to you. All right, it's not to your
mom,
to your daughter, to your
daughters,
sister,
to your
to your
sisters,
brothers, whatever it is. Yeah, don't feel entitled. You're not entitled. Life doesn't give you everything. You know, I think there's growing up as a well, I guess as a boy in my case, right? Growing up, there's this oh, you haven't dated yet, or you haven't, like, there's all these expectations. Fuck all these expectations. Just live your life. Just you do you. You don't have to have had sex by this age. You know, there's this, oh, you loser. Ha ha. Whatever. I didn't like have it until I was like 20, okay? And that's fine. Now I'm married. I love my life. You know, I would like to say I am successful at what I do, or I've had a long career. I have a loving wife, and that's what matters to me now. You know, when you're younger, you might get influenced by all these things that are out there telling you, and media, and yes, pro wrestling has a lot to do with it as well, because like you said just now, Ric Flair, woo, styling, profiling, limousine riding, kiss stealing, and all that. We need to understand that a lot of it is just make-believe, and it is not how normal people act. I mean, there are people who do act that way. They're bad people, and it isn't something we should aspire to, you know?
And I feel this propagation in the media of like, you know, a certain kind of behavior is considered cool. You're a loser if you're a nice guy. Nice guys don't get the girls, or that kind of bullshit, or you can be a bad boy to get all this. You know, at the end of the day, who are you really appealing to? Like, are you trying to, if you're trying to change yourself to try to impress someone, then are you going to try to put on that front for 24/7 hours, 24 hours, 7 days of your life? You know what I mean?
Or are you really going to work on yourself and improve yourself? And here's the thing about dating, right?
Yeah.
You can improve yourself all you want. You can really put 100% heart and soul into it. You might not get the result you want. And this is very important in life. You don't always get what you want. And you know what? That is okay, because the process of getting there, the process of making yourself better has made you better. And that at the end of the day should be the end goal, is to be the best version of yourself. Not to, want to do all this just to get the girl, or just to get this spot in life and stuff like that, you know? And that is very, very important. I think that, people need to understand. And not
true,
like try to force yourself to, get this, get that. If it's not for you, it's not for you.
Yeah, I mean, through the course of doing this podcast, like, 80 episodes plus, almost 2 years, bro. And, we've definitely gotten close as a friend. Yeah. And, and for those who might not know, or someone like me who completely slipped my mind, your birthday is coming this weekend, bro.
Oh, yeah. Thanks,
man.
Bro. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So I would like to consider you like a dear friend of mine. And I think you've seen how much I've grown in the last 2 years,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, bro. and I just want to say this for, some guys out there who've gone through depression or who's going through tough times. I've been there. I've literally sat in the studio and told Young, Young, I've actually, thought about committing suicide, I've lost friends. Yeah. I tried too hard to impress women who don't deserve my time at all. Yeah. And, I've been through so much of that. And I did all of that because I was trying to please other people. And one thing about doing this podcast taught me was do things that make you happy, that please yourself, that make you proud of you being yourself, without any validation from outside sources. We said from day one, bro, if no one is going to listen to this podcast, it's fine. Because at the end of the day, it's just two dudes. We're going to catch up every week anyway to talk about wrestling. Hey, what happened in wrestling this week, blah, blah, blah. We just have this mic in between us. But this is what we do, and this is what we talk about. And this is what defines us. We're wrestling fans on top of everything else we do in life. So if there's any message we could put out there to, any of these listeners, anyone who feels alone, in their life, who feels that they need to do certain things to quote unquote fit in and belong to the boys, or have to, try to get the girl, or vice versa. The moment you work on yourself, the moment you cut off things that it's bad for you, but you still do it out of this peer pressure, you just focus on you, great things happen, bro. Yeah. In the last, 1 year, from being single for like 7 years, 8 years, and I thought I will never, settle down. You know, I've had a girlfriend for over a year already, bro.
Yeah, man.
And, you know, in a good loving relationship. And you've seen me when I was like single and like completely like depressed.
Down.
Why am I so nice? Why am I so nice? I cannot get a girl, blah, blah, blah. And to now. And I've seen you, bro, like, you know, just married, you know, and finally being happy, getting to do what you love to do. You and your streaming right now.
Yes.
You with your wrestling right now. That's when you started focusing on what makes you happy. We created this platform on our own. No one told us, hey, go do a wrestling podcast. No one asked us to do a wrestling podcast. We did it on our own accord, you know. So I mean, that's the only advice I can give, guys. Everywhere, just work on yourself, be yourself. You will attract the right people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, when the time comes for you to get what you want to get, it will either come or not. And whether you get it or not, it's fine. You put in the effort and the hours and the blood and sweat, and that's where you get the respect.
Yeah, man. Destino, bro. Oh,
this is the so random, man. Just showing off our shirts.
No relevance.
No link, bro. No link. But okay, just to take things back a little bit, just to wrap up on this hashtag speaking out movement. Like we said, if you do see somebody doing something that's not cool, man, speak out. It's fine. You know, stand by your morals. Know that what's right, what's wrong. And if somebody is harassing another person, just be a friend. Be good to the people who are around you, and they'll be good right back to you, you know, and don't expect certain things, you know. Yeah. I think that's the biggest mistake in life, to expect that, oh, you know, I should be getting this. I'm so hot. I should expect. No.
Oh, no. We don't have that problem, bro. We never expect anything from your heart. We are perfectly accepting of, you know, how we look.
Stop it, bro. Stop it. Speak for yourself, bro. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Get some water.
Yeah, man. But so for all the women out there, you know, who has been particularly affected by this whole situation, we applaud your courage. Yeah, man. For speaking out. We know in solidarity comes, you know, power,
strength,
and strength. Yes, correct. So use your voice, speak out. Don't be afraid. Know that there's people like, you know, me. There's Young. We stand by all of you, you know. And we do not want to see this happen to anyone at all. We want wrestling to be a fun escape from the shittiness outside, you know, in our daily lives.
Not just in wrestling too. I mean, we don't want to see it happen to anybody in any situation. And I believe calling out this sort of shitty behavior is a step in the right direction. Like, okay, you can't get away with this anymore, because for so long, a lot of people have been getting away with this sort of thing. Oh, you know, they won't talk because they are afraid of repercussions. Well, guess what? No, not any longer. You know, you can't pull this bullshit anymore, and you will get your just desserts if you are in fact guilty of, you know, the things that have been said. And the question, one more question has been, I've been sort of thinking about as well. Is there redemption at the end of the road? And as I was thinking about it, you know, one thing is very clear. I think perpetrators or people who have put others in that sort of a situation, you need to look back at yourself, what you've done. You have to understand what you've done. You know, it's not enough to just say, I'm sorry, because it could just be, just say to get yourself out of trouble sort of a situation, right? Apologize, but don't expect forgiveness, because you don't deserve it until and this goes back to the whole entitlement as well. You're not entitled to forgiveness until it comes to you from, you know, when they're ready to.
And you brought up a great point about, you know, apologizing for the sake of apologizing. A lot of people are guilty of that. I just want to say sorry so that you don't get banned at me, so that you can move on.
For the whole thing to pass. Yeah, you're right.
Yes, but you're right. Exactly. You can seek forgiveness. You can't expect, you know, the person that you victimized to forgive you. And if they don't forgive you, you have to accept that as the consequences of your actions.
Live with it. You have to live with that. Is your burden to bear. And then, you know what? Fight the good fight. You know, learn from your mistake. There is, I feel like there is redemption, but it is not an easy road, but it is the road.
I mean, I don't want to go all like, you know, religious and shit, right? But, you know, humans may not be able to forgive each other, you know, but God always forgives, you know. So if you do believe in a higher power, you believe in the universe, you know. I like the term the universe. So it's like, yeah. So if you truly have repented for your mistakes and you truly believe what you did was wrong, there always be a second chance as long as you work hard to ensure that this doesn't define your behavior. Bro, the best example in wrestling, bro, look at Shawn Michaels. Enough. People forget, right? Shawn Michaels has been sober and clean longer than he has been a dickhead.
Yeah. True. And he had to make up for so much of the crap that he did back in his heyday.
Yeah. You think people now don't still talk shit about how HBK was in the past? Everyone acknowledges he was a piece of shit, but he embraces it. He accepted it. He was a man enough to say, okay, I fucked up. I got, he got his, his religion now, and he's a great dad. So what I'm trying to say is there's always redemption available. And I do want all these people, who have been accused and who have hurt others, I want them to get that redemption story because everyone deserves a second chance.
Yeah. But it only comes from self-reflection and admitting that what you did was messed up and you want to, take that step. It has to be genuine, at the end of the day, is what I guess we're saying. It has to be genuine. It cannot be, oh shit, let's just say to get out of trouble now, sort of a thing.
And I guess we draw the line on this whole speaking out movement. For now. I just, as long as, anyone out there is listening, this platform is still, will always be available. If anyone wants to, speak out and share about their experiences or want to put out a message and all that, we are willing to listen because we also want to be educated. And I think everyone needs to be educated as well. Yeah.
I mean, if you don't mind, I will share a little bit of a story that actually something that happened to me. I don't know if I'm pretty sure I told you before. So this was when I was first starting out in radio, right? And I was at a different radio station. Let me just clear that first. And back then, our boss was a lady. And, maybe not a lady, a woman, because she wasn't very ladylike. And here's the thing, right? She had a reputation of being too flirty, quote unquote flirty with the guys, which at first I was like, okay, it didn't happen to me. So I just heard about it. And then it happened. It finally just happened. It happened once or twice in that she got drunk. We were at an event. And then all of a sudden she just lay her head on my lap in a very inappropriate way. Right. And I'm not saying that this is anything close to what these, other women have gone through because I was not physically in danger. But as someone who's new and these things are always like that, it's a power play, right? She thought she could get away with it because she's the boss. What am I going to do? Complain about the boss? No, of course not, right? So I just shut my mouth. And I was in a relationship at the time. And people have actually said to me when I told them, my friends, I told them about this story, they're like, actually, she's quite quite decent looking. You should have embraced it. I'm like, bro, that's not the point. I don't care if she looks like Megan Fox or whatever, right? Is that I'm not comfortable with that situation. I'm in a relationship. She could be the most beautiful woman in the world, but that is not what I want. It's consent. So I felt really uncomfortable and it bothered me. It bothered me for a long, long time. I didn't dare to tell anybody about it because, especially in the office for fear of my job. Yeah. And I found out that she had done this to several other dudes as well. So it's nothing to do with attraction. It has everything to do with power and that sense of, I can do this and get away with it because I am who I am. Yeah. So,
and some people who have said or spoken out and said, then like that, how? Cannot touch anyone or no? We have to keep our hands to ourselves, or they cannot get girls like that.
It's that, you know what I mean? That is not the, there is and even then, if I don't want you to touch my shoulder, bro, don't touch my shoulder. Then you should respect that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's I get that once in a while, you want to hug your friends, you want to high five, you want to pat them on the shoulder. That is fine. But if I explicitly tell you, hey, stop touching my shoulder, stop smacking me on the butt, or whatever the case may be, right? Then you stop it, take the hint and stop. And not try to do this over and over again, blame alcohol, I was drunk, blah, blah, blah. No, at some point you are responsible for your own activities. And if you get like that when you're drunk, then don't drink so much, dude. Or
the only body that you can control or have any control over is your own.
Yeah.
No one else's. End of the day.
So, like I said, it's not like I'm saying that, I understand how these people feel that have come out. But I I see what they're saying. We hear you, and it's just not cool. You know, if what I felt was like, you know, this much, well, what they have gone through must be like, I can't imagine, 1,000 times worse, right? So,
and I'm happy that, you know, the promotion in Singapore, the wrestling promotion in Singapore, all put out a statement, and it was quite swift in their actions. And I hope moving forward, you know, we want a healthier environment for not only our wrestling scene, but the wrestlers, both male and female, and the fans as well. You know, we want them to be able to enjoy wrestling without this kind of stigma following them.
Yeah. Don't be a shithead. Seek consent.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
All right. That being said, I know that's a very heavy topic, but it is part of life. It is.
We had to address it, and it was a long conversation and discussion. But I hope, you know, through this, anybody listening, they do reflect and they think about, you know, what they can do now moving forward to be better.
Yeah, this is a conversation that's uncomfortable, but it is, and thankfully, you know, people are speaking out, and thankfully it is a conversation that is being had. And we just need to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, is our behavior okay? Are we putting other people at risk or at, you know, in discomfort? And just do the right thing. Don't be a shithead.
Do the right thing.
Where was that from?
I always hear it when I was in army.
Was it do the right thing?
Don't play.
Don't play. Oh, it's what you can.
Is it a PCK thing?
I think it might be. Okay. Let's talk about now. Let's pivot onto the other piece of big wrestling news, and it's a bit of a. You saw it coming, but then you're gonna say, "Really? For real? Are you sure?" We're talking about Undertaker, Mark Calloway, of course. You know, we last saw him in the Boneyard match that has been raved about at the WrestleMania that just went by. And then, of course, The Last Ride, the documentary series chronicling his road there. What a brilliant documentary series. We've talked about it to the cows come home lah. And if you haven't watched it, you need to watch it. And the last episode, he essentially said, I've done everything I need to do in this business. I don't see the need to come back. I don't have anything to prove anymore. So essentially, he's retired. But the thing is, even in the episode, he did say, if Vince McMahon called me and he needed The Undertaker, I would answer that call. So it's like, not really, leh. You know what I mean?
No. You know what this means? This means if anything happens moving forward, it's Vince's fault. Then we really got a reason to shit on the guy. No. Okay, to me, I do feel the process of the documentary was his way of letting go. I think it was so hard for him to just let go on the back of just doing one evening, one WrestleMania match. He had to do a whole documentary about him letting go.
Well, okay.
And I understand. I completely understand, though.
100% understand, because while he's talking through it, you know, he can rationalize it in his head. Then he realizes, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, I have been, you know, coming back, and then I have a shitty match, and then I'm not happy. I come back again. I've been chasing that dragon. And even Triple H says it so many times. You'll chase that dragon to the end of time if you let it happen.
And if you wanna take a positive spin at the whole situation, you know, and instead of complaining about, you know, Undertaker, he said he want to retire, but then he never retire. Why? Against Roman Reigns, I thought he really put down his head and all that. Don't think of it as that. Think of it as the last 3 years, right, has been his way of saying a long goodbye.
Yep.
You know, and like this entire retirement phase of his career, he spent 3 years, bro.
Yeah.
Ric Flair, we only had like one WrestleMania season in 2008 to say goodbye to him.
But then again,
we only had, you know.
He came back after that, right?
Yeah, so like screw Ric Flair. But like
HBK,
for example, HBK, bro. Like his announcement came out of a sudden, all of a sudden, in a way. Even though we saw it coming, like, okay, the second match, career versus streak, it might be his end. But the thing is, we've had a long time to say goodbye to the Undertaker, bro. I've been saying goodbye to him possibly since Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Well, so I don't. Yeah, I'm happy with his decision in a way.
And here's the thing: you never really retire from pro wrestling. He'll be back as Mark Calloway, as some sort of a backstage influence. I'm sure once in a while he'll come out to spook somebody. You know.
Yeah,
so
everyone speculated, of course, like, hey, he just signed a 15-year contract. What do you mean he retiring?
Backstage lah.
Yeah, but what Vince McMahon said, and Undertaker also spoke about, Vince McMahon sees his role outside of the ring being bigger than inside it moving forward.
Yeah.
And he just wants to keep the brand of The Undertaker at home in the WWE. Bro, I want to see that. Okay, this is what I want. I want to see that Undertaker movie, bro. Like a horror movie with the Undertaker mythology. Can you imagine how awesome that would be?
Like a full-on scripted movie. Didn't they do a comic book? Undertaker, or was it the Ultimate Warrior?
Are you okay, bro? I can't hear you.
Oh, yeah, I think we have a little bit of a lag issue right now. You just froze. Either that or you're just keeping very still.
No. You froze, I froze.
Okay.
I
think we're back though. We're back.
I thought it was because of your reaction to when I said Undertaker movie. You're like, movie? I never thought about it.
Okay, no, I was doing that on purpose.
Don't be a douche.
His story definitely can be made into some kind of movie. But of course, his documentary, like we said a million times, it should be on Netflix. People should watch it and get, fall in love with the product again. And are they going to do a retirement ceremony at Survivor Series? I've sort of passingly read something like that.
I hope so. I mean, a lot of people say that, Undertaker shouldn't retire without a crowd. He should be in front of like thousands and thousands of people in an arena so that people can say goodbye to him. You know what I would really, really like?
What?
And, our interviewee our guest interviewer from last week, Greg Morgan, he spoke to us about it. And I think he reiterated the fact on his own podcast. He said, what if WWE did like a Jushin Thunder Liger ceremony?
Yes, a very respectful.
Yes, correct. Can you imagine if like everyone, like Undertaker was in the middle of the ring, everyone surrounding him, and they did like a 10-bell salute? I think of all the characters in WWE, Undertaker doing that makes so much sense.
Yeah. Both as a character and as the locker room leader that he's always been known to be. Yeah. Like Greg said in the last episode, though, I don't know if the US audience would be able to keep quiet for then some jabroni, some ass is just gonna be like,
love you, Undertaker, don't go. No. One more match.
Oh God, yeah. You know that's gonna come. One more, Shama. Oi. But yeah, I mean, it would be just an amazing memory.
And what made me happy about watching this documentary? For the longest time, we were imagining how is Undertaker gonna do his retirement speech or his Hall of Fame speech.
Right.
Is he gonna be in character? Is he gonna walk out and like do the eye roll and all that kind of shit? But then now that we are kind of getting used to the Mark Calloway guy as a person and see his thoughts and all that. Now I can literally just see him coming out, just being a normal dude.
Yeah.
Being a normal dude.
Yeah, like this was who I was, and now I'm Mark Calloway, and his value is definitely going to be there for the WWE in terms of now he's going on press tours. Like he said, he's done more press in the last few months than his entire career because he was always the Undertaker. He was that mysterious guy.
I feel like every single episode, like he will before the episode airs, he would be doing like 2 or 3 like Zoom interviews.
Yeah.
It just keeps popping up on YouTube. I just saw it on Sam Roberts, then Pat McAfee, ESPN, blah, blah, blah. He even joked in one of the interviews, bro. He said that, even my wife is complaining to me. He said like, I think I prefer you when you're all quiet. Now you just can't shut up.
Yeah. All the shit, being spilled. So anyway, in light of this Undertaker huge retirement, right? We asked you, thank you very much for all your comments on our Instagram page to tell us what is your favorite Undertaker memory. So we'll read these off and then maybe we'll share some of our own as well.
Yes.
So not that hair though, interesting Instagram handle. You say when he counted the what chant during American Badass Days. How did he counter the what chants? Was this a specific...
No, I remember this exact promo. He was saying that if you sleep with your own sister, say what? What?
Wow. Okay,
you remember this one?
No, I don't remember it. But...
Oh my god, yeah, that was like one of the sickest burns. Because I think they were in Alabama or like somewhere southern where everyone's like, yee-haw, or that kind of shit. Yeah, that was a terrible impression. But
yeah, We should go to Alabama and, just live it ourselves. Grim06, what's up? When Taker gets angry, the Royal Rumble elimination by Maven, like his face.
Oh,
remember his face?
Yeah. Didn't he proceed to like take Maven out and beat the shit out of him all over the arena?
Oh, yeah. I was like, wow, like way to put over the young guy. Because after that, they had like a mini feud, right?
Yeah, over the hardcore title, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. But I thought that was really cool of him, though, to give Maven the rub.
Can you believe he was like a veteran 18 years ago already, bro?
Yeah. Dude, The Undertaker has been the cornerstone of the WWE for how many generations? All the memes keep popping up, Hogan was the 80s era, Austin, Rock, but Undertaker was there throughout, without fail. He's been there. He still is there. Okay, the Shadow, what's up, Lavin? Most memorable would be his return at WrestleMania 20 with Paul Bearer against Kane.
Do you know that WrestleMania 20 was the first ever wrestling VCD that I bought and watched?
Is it?
I must have been 10 years old at that point in time.
Right.
Yeah, so I remember legit being super scared and creeped out because I was wondering what Undertaker will show up. Do you know about this storyline going there?
This was after he had disappeared after being American Badass, right? So he came back as the old Undertaker. Is that right?
He got buried alive when he had that match.
Yes.
Survivor Series match with Vince McMahon. Then Kane did like a mock funeral for him, and then basically he never appeared on camera all the way until WrestleMania. They were playing all this
spooky shit, yeah.
Yeah. So in my mind, as a 10-year-old kid, I was expecting like a zombie come out. Like all like bloody and like all decomposed. That was how I thought Undertaker was gonna show up.
Sure.
Yeah, oh my god.
I dare say that his entire run with Kane, like, it's one of my favorite memories of the Undertaker,
Yeah.
It's not my top memory, but yeah, his entire run with Kane, 97, 98, from when Kane first came out. Oh, that's his brother Kane. That's gotta be Kane. And then they feuded back and forth, and then eventually became the Brothers of Destruction and everything. I love it. That was some of my favorite stuff.
They always say that the Kane and Undertaker is like the best bit of epic storytelling WWE has ever done, and nothing has hold a candle to it since, bro.
True. Yeah, the nerd in me would always be like, oh, look, Kane got the fire-starting genes, while Undertaker had the turn the lights off genes from that family.
They had the blue ice cold of death, and then they got the fiery depths of hell of the red color. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, we need what do you call it? Origin story on film.
Some mythical bullshit thing where they would just tell this whole horror story.
Bro, can you imagine they do CGI, bro? Like Undertaker and like Kane in their 50s, then they do a movie and they CGI themselves like Blade Runner like that.
Stop it.
Hollywood, come on, pick up that project. Why you do fighting with your family? You can do this.
Okay,
so
that sounds like a WWE Films product, not a Hollywood product. Muhammad Daniel says, whenever he won any title, it looked good on him, even the hardcore title. Well, yeah, exactly. Like at some point, he just didn't need the title anymore. So any title that was on his shoulders immediately got a boost in its prestige, right?
Yeah. And Muhammad Daniel also mentioned every match and moment at WrestleMania.
The streak,
even Giant Gonzalez, bro, really?
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. The funny thing is I was trying to remember Undertaker matches at WrestleMania. The first one that came to my mind was Giant Gonzalez,
Oh my God, yeah.
Because it was just so bad. Like, sometimes you tend to remember the shitty things as well. And I remember that was so bad. And you know how they won? Do you remember how Giant Gonzalez beat Undertaker?
Was it some count out or some stupid DQ shit?
He used a cloth soaked in, what's that?
Like chloroform or something?
Chloroform, yeah. And then the commentators like, it's got to be chloroform. He put him out with the chloroform. I was like, oh my God, this is the dumbest thing ever. So he basically knocked him out with chloroform.
So they were trying to keep Giant Gonzalez strong, even at that moment.
Yeah. Like it was
really?
a DQ, but it was so bad. We should watch along of that.
Oh no. I'm just gonna shit on it.
Okay. Muhammad Daniel also said when he became the American Badass, Big Evil with his bikes. Yeah.
Yes.
I know a lot of fans aren't, crazy about the American Badass gimmick. But to be fair too, a lot of people grew up, and we've talked to them right here on this show. I believe DJ Cal, he mentioned that he grew up watching The American Badass. So that was his Undertaker.
Yeah. And you think about it, the American Badass had quite a long run, and it was right smack dab in the middle of his career.
Right.
It was like a good 3 to 4 years. And people keep forgetting that is also the Attitude Era. So the majority of the Attitude Era, The Undertaker was his American Badass stage. So
was it really though? I'm thinking Attitude Era, he was more, I don't know why in my mind, the Attitude Era, he was more the Ministry of Darkness Undertaker, the devil.
The corporate ministry, right?
Corporate ministry with his symbol. Symbol.
If you follow the exact timeline, 98, 99, that will be his corporate ministry days, right?
Yeah. Attitude Era, what?
Yeah, but then 2000, 2001 is also the American Badass. So I would say half-half.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, for some reason, to me, like the vibe of WWE changed once they went public. So from 2000 onwards, there was a different vibe to the WWF.
Correct.
Like post Stone Cold injury. So I feel like early Attitude Era, corporate ministry, late Attitude Era, American Badass, and moving forward.
Actually, one of my favorite Undertakers was the corporate ministry, Undertaker, where he would, quote unquote, he sacrificed Stone Cold and stuff like that. All that shenanigans. With Michigan and Viscera.
I was a bit too young for this, but I do remember the embalming scene. I thought that was pretty scary.
When he tried to embalm Stone Cold, right?
Yeah, what the hell? And he was speaking Latin and all this kind of nonsense.
Like speaking in tongue, like as if he was possessed by the demon or whatever. But I mean, they went there. They tried really, really out there things back in the day, But,
it was fun. I mean, he has so many phases, man. The Undertaker. It's nice looking through memory lane.
Yeah, I mean, so many memories. Brothers of Destruction when they became the WWF and WCW tag champs back in 01.
SummerSlam, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember who's the opponents?
Was it the two-man power trip?
No. Against in SummerSlam, they fought against a WCW tandem.
Oh, Jindrak and O'Hare, is it?
No. In this match, if I'm not wrong, it's Page and one of the like Chris Canyon or something. You know who Canyon is?
Yeah, I know who Canyon is, but it's probably why I don't remember this match.
Because the WCW Superstars was so forgettable. I only remembered the Undertaker's DDP's Sarah stalking angle. That's the only thing I remember from the era.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was terrible.
Okay. I am Adli says Undertaker returning at WrestleMania 20. That one has got a lot of votes.
I feel a lot of our listeners are about my age, Ken.
I mean, for me, I love that moment as well because I didn't like the Biker Taker. I didn't like American Badass. So I wanted the old school, zombie Taker to come back.
So you were quite happy when he returned, lah.
Yeah, so, and I think a lot of people were happy because of that return, right? Akid says, Streak versus Career, HBK, Undertaker. I mean, one of the best matches of all time, lah.
For the newer fans, I think this generation will remember more of his undefeated streak, lah. Yeah.
And Brock Lesnar snapping that streak.
I mean, you gotta talk about that's like one of the biggest moments of this decade.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so I'm surprised nobody brought up Hell in a Cell versus Mankind.
Oh, not just that, bro. Hell in a Cell, Mankind against Shawn Michaels. End of an era.
I think a lot of people remember Hell in a Cell versus Mankind for Mankind's bumps. So Mankind takes a lot of credit for that match, but you had to have the other guy in the match. So that one sticks out to me.
And what a lot of people didn't know, it wasn't common knowledge, but Undertaker went into that match with a broken foot. Yeah.
And you would not have been able to realize it. And then he still climbed the bloody cage.
Yeah. So this badass not only just climbed the cage, but when he managed to choke slam Mankind through the roof, he also descended and jumped from the center of the roof.
And if you notice, I remember it very clearly when he did it, he started to limp after that just for a little bit. So everyone probably thought, oh, he's limping because he just jumped down. But it was probably from the injured foot. It was legit. It wasn't a shoot. I mean, it wasn't a work. Man. Yeah.
Yes.
What about
Hell in a Cell for the longest time definitely defined his career.
Yeah. Well, okay, let me touch on one of my favorite moments. Before Hell in a Cell, Undertaker was known for the
Casket match.
casket match. So one of my earliest memories, and I don't know if it's favorite or because it was a
Nostalgic
bit
lah.
nostalgic. Yeah. It was cheesy, but also it was like, oh, okay, well, and you have to remember I was quite young at the time, so I was like, wow, this is so cool. Now you look back, wow, it looks damn cheesy. Yeah. Undertaker, Yokozuna, 1994 Royal Rumble casket match.
I remember this because he supposedly died, right? And
Yeah.
he ascended to the heavens.
Well, what happened was Yokozuna, obviously, he needed the help of 10 other men. Like half the locker room came out to beat down, all the heels came out to beat up the Undertaker. And young me, I didn't understand because, but they're not they're not fighting. Why all these fellas come out and beat up Undertaker for no reason? Anyway, that happened. They threw him in the casket. Yokozuna won. Then all of a sudden, the lights go out. It was so scary, right? And then the Titantron, you had a casket shot. So it looked like the camera was on top, like on the inside of the casket. So you had Undertaker. Then he starts talking. Blah, blah, blah. The Undertaker will never die. The spirit lives on. It's damn cheese, okay? You look back at it now. I'm sure it's somewhere on YouTube or whatever, or it's probably on the WWE Network. It's so cheesy. And then at the end, he says, I will not rest in peace. And he closes his eyes and then turns his head. And then the lightning. And then this is when it gets really cheese. They reverse so it's like a negative effect. So it becomes like black and white. It's like a negative, you know how the negative film effect looks, right? Yeah. And then you only see his outline. And then the outline ascends to the heavens.
You gotta love the 90s, bro.
Oh my God. It was so cheesy. But as a kid, you were like, wow.
And I do remember this particular promo because I think the negative outline turned him into like a skeleton or some shit.
Yeah.
There was skeleton all that, right?
Obviously, you were too young to remember this. Or
I watched it back. I think in the mid 2000s, I bought this documentary by the Undertaker called like Half a Decade of Destruction or something like that. Tombstone, the Undertaker story.
Okay.
Basically, all his awesome matches and blah blah blah. And you brought up a good point. You know, I would dare say, right, no other wrestler has innovated and come up with as many unique stipulations as The Undertaker.
Yeah.
There were so many stipulations that was created because of his gimmick. Let's list it down, bro. Casket match, buried alive match, boiler room brawl.
Okay, that one Mankind lah. That one can give Mankind.
But okay, let's include a list of things that he was the pioneer in terms of he was the first guy to be part of that match.
Sure.
That we gotta talk about Hell in a Cell, you know. There was even a last ride match. Do you remember this match? I think he fought against Mr. Kennedy or something, like a hearse.
Oh, and you had to put the guy in the hearse lah.
Yeah, I mean it's an ambulance match lah, but it's a hearse lah.
Because of the character, they had to be super, like, you know, quote unquote
creative.
Innovative. They have to come up with shit. And let's not forget too, the people that they created to fight him went on to also have their own signature matches. Like we just talked about Mankind, Boiler Room Brawl, Kane, Inferno match. Because without Kane, there would be no Inferno match. Without Undertaker, there would be no Kane. Because Kane was brought in to be like Undertaker's equal. Because for every good guy, you need an equally powerful or even more powerful bad guy.
And already, I feel like what was so great about the Undertaker character is it just opened up a Pandora's box of possibilities that WWE could play with.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, if the Undertaker never existed, right? WWE, WWF would have not been the same. The landscape. Imagine there wasn't any Undertaker that debuted at 1990 Survivor Series and WWE continued. It would be so different, bro. He's such a big part of wrestling.
Yeah.
As it is.
You know, not only that, as a locker room leader as well. Yeah. You know, who knows? Maybe someone else would have stepped up and became that locker room leader, that, you know, person who went out and was an example to everybody because, you know, he would put in 110%.
And a lot of people talk about his loyalty, how, you know, everyone jumped ship to WCW. Only he stayed loyal. And I feel like this is the kind of man that there should be more of this kind of man around these days.
Yeah.
His word is his gospel.
Yeah.
I think as long as he gave his word, right, he ain't gonna go back on it, and I think that deserves so much respect. he was there when it wasn't cool to be a wrestling fan. Where they just went through the trials, the drug trials, and all that. It's amazing lah. What he's been through, what he's done, what he's seen. And if you watch the documentary, right, sometimes you forget how invincible The Undertaker was for the longest time, because he's so vulnerable in the documentary, right?
Yeah,
it's crazy almost to remember that.
I mean, yeah, I honestly was never like, when you ask me, oh, who are your favorite wrestlers, Mr. Young? Undertaker would not have been like in my top 5, because you know me, I like the smaller guys, but I forget sometimes, like, that's probably because he's such a staple that you take him for granted, you know, because he's always there. You're like, oh, okay, he's the Undertaker lah, you know. But when you look back, you're like, holy shit, yeah, he should be there in the top 5, if not like the top 2 or 3.
And I feel that he only was able to showcase his wrestling ability once he started working with like Bret Hart. I think Bret was the first where he had like proper ass matches. And this guy could fly, man. He's like 7 foot, and he could do all these like, acrobatic flying clotheslines and diving over the rope. Like you said, we take him for granted. And I remembered very, very vividly, right, bro? I think his match with Batista, I think the WrestleMania 23 match with Batista, Undertaker was like, what, in his early 40s? Yeah, but I remember being so in awe of his physique at that point in time. That was like the best Undertaker look. And he got himself into crazy shape, like super shredded when he was in his early 40s, when he was the world champion at the time. When you compare it to his like American Badass days, he was a bit heavy, you know. But he had a bit of a stomach and all that. And to see this guy's discipline, and he almost had like a renaissance in the second half of his career. It's crazy, man. Much respect for him for doing that.
Yeah, man. Do I really think that he's gonna stay away? Nah, we will see him at WrestleMania, Chokeslam, Tombstone, somebody. But yeah, he's not gonna have it. I hope he doesn't have another match. Like, he doesn't need to chase that dragon anymore. Do you have any? What about your, like, you know, Undertaker memories? What really stands out to you? What's your favorite?
Okay, so even though I told you the first DVD I ever bought, like for myself, was WrestleMania 20, right? But the first VCD that was given to me or was bought for me, basically the first ever wrestling content that I ever laid eyes on, right?
Yeah.
I very vividly remember Capital Carnage, 1998. It was a London pay-per-view. Basically, it was a UK pay-per-view. And the main event was pretty awesome. It was a fatal 4-way match between Stone Cold, Mankind, Kane, and The Undertaker.
Wow. All
pretty
legends.
Badass, right?
Yeah.
And that was my first introduction to The Undertaker. And I remember that one particular scene. For some reason, Undertaker and Kane were ganging up on Paul Bearer, and they dumped him into a sewer. And they found like a manhole outside the arena, and they dumped him into the sewer. I do not know what was that all about.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. Or was it? No, it wasn't Undertaker. Sorry, Undertaker was together with Paul Bearer. It was Stone Cold and Kane teaming up together to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just remember how. Okay, do you know how I remember why Attitude Era crowds were like super awesome and like wild? When certain wrestlers, their theme songs started playing, right? The hard cam will start to shake.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember this period? So so the match was pretty badass because Kane and Mankind started off the match. So the rest of the other two their entrances haven't come in yet, you know. So they were Kane and Mankind immediately engaged. As they were fighting, and one of them whipped the other into the corner. There was a gong. The gong started to play, right? Yeah. And then the crowd just went on and popped, and the thing all just shake.
Wow.
And then, you have to understand, I've never seen an Undertaker entrance before. So I heard this like Ministry of Darkness team. And then as they were fighting, the lights in the arena started to disappear. And can you imagine like the awesome like commentary that was being called out by JR and King at that point in time?
Yeah.
You know, the Prince of Darkness is here, is the conscience of the WWE.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. And then like him stalking into the arena, I was like, damn, this is the devil. This is Shaitan.
That slow walk with his cape.
Yeah, that very ominous walk. And it was that the ministry team was the best, like even better than the classic Undertaker team, in my humble opinion. Yeah. It was just so like, it was just like epic film score. So I don't know how to explain it, bro.
It was like a horror movie, you know, and you genuinely felt like, because to be honest, the old Taker, Zombie Taker, was a little bit hokey. If you look back now, especially now, you look back, it's like just some very bad makeup, his curly hair and everything. Yeah. But then as he fine-tuned that character and he became that quote-unquote demonic Undertaker, that shit was scary, and it still holds up today.
Yeah, it was. And I like that era of the Undertaker because it was scary, but he had this cerebral vibe to his character. He always felt like the evil mastermind villain, you know, always trying to thwart against Stone Cold. Because obviously when the Undertaker came into the arena, everyone was like, oh my God, you know, he's beating up and everything. And then the pop for Stone Cold came in, and I was like, oh, okay, he's the star.
Yeah. But
Undertaker is badass, but he's the main number one villain. You know what I mean?
Do you remember how they screwed that whole thing up though with the corporate ministry? Before the corporate ministry, who was the higher power?
Vince McMahon, right?
Yeah, so it wasn't the Undertaker. All of a sudden, Vince McMahon was the one. It's like, oh, great! So they combined the corporation with the ministry. I like the ministry as it was, and then of course they had to combine the corporation with the ministry to become the corporate ministry, which was like, okay, then.
Okay lah. I mean, it works in terms of the word play, but they should have stayed separated, man. Imagine if the ministry never combined, right? And they were like this renegade evil entity that just kidnap people for fun and do all this satanic shit. Do you remember the rumor during that point in time? Like, people were like speculating who would have been the perfect higher power. Do you know some of the names that were being thrown around?
Was it the Waylon Mercy?
No. Someone even better.
Who?
And I thought would make so much sense. Imagine if it was Jake Roberts, bro.
Oh, yeah. It would have been perfect.
And there is a tie-in. You know why? Didn't Stone Cold start off his whole
career
316 because of Jake Roberts? So if Jake Roberts came in as a sadistic character and say that, you know what, this is my revenge. All this while I've had Undertaker under my thumb. Oh my God, that would be an awesome story, bro.
And Undertaker and Jake the Snake Roberts have had a history with each other as well.
Yes.
Even though they were feuding way back. I remember the Undertaker and Jake the Snake Roberts feud, because I was always like, how can Jake beat Undertaker? Undertaker is this indestructible monster, zombie. And this is credit to Jake. He made it believable. He somehow made the whole thing work. Like, holy shit, like, you know, he can actually put Undertaker in jeopardy. Man, sometimes I actually miss some of this storytelling. And then when I go back and try to watch it, it's like, wow, cheesy AF.
Like you said, some hold up, some don't hold up.
Yeah.
If you've been watching the documentaries and, you know, his interviews with Stone Cold, he did credit Jake the Snake for a lot of the early psychology of the Undertaker.
Yeah.
And we always know that Jake the Snake has one of the best wrestling minds, right? I was just thinking, like, how much of that character was really Undertaker himself? How much of it was him getting a lot of advice from other people?
Yeah.
You couldn't have created all that on your own, man. It was definitely a collaborative effect. But
for sure.
Yeah, the best character ever that WWE have done and created was hands down like the Undertaker. Even the Fiend and Bray Wyatt.
No lah.
You can't touch it, man. It's a league on its own.
And Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, is more like under Mankind and the faces of Foley, you know? So is it maybe a combination? I guess you could call it a combination of, like, you know, the scary stuff and the multiple personality things. Oh, speaking of which, yes, Bray Wyatt now back in his
Eater of
Worlds incarnation against Braun Strowman. Yeah.
Like you're talking about Waylon Mercy, right? He's back to his Waylon Mercy days.
Yeah. Okay, before we sidetrack though, is there anything else we want to mention about The Undertaker? I mean, what a career. We've talked a lot about it, but I feel like we haven't touched on a lot of things. But I mean, it is what it is with a career that long.
I feel like once the Hall of Fame has been announced and he's been inducted and all that, you know, we will definitely have another conversation about The Undertaker.
Yep.
But as of now, I feel like it's a goodbye. For now.
For now. It's always a goodbye for now in wrestling. Bro, yeah. Ric Flair is back, for goodness sakes.
But at the end of the day, whatever happens is Undertaker's decision. The fans will love it that he appears in the arena one more time, but no matter what he does, I think all of us are happy. I'm happy he got his Boneyard match.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of speculation that if it was going to happen in an arena match environment, he may not have lived up to it. He might still be trying to chase the dragon, you know?
Yeah, he might not have been happy with it. It was just go on and on forever. So yes, we need to thank Alan Jones for that. Good old Alan.
Great way to end thanks to the hands of a flat earther lah.
Huh?
Yo, you do not know?
AJ Styles is a flat earther.
Oh man,
Really?
guys, time to Google some shit.
Are you serious? AJ Styles believes in flat Earth.
There's a clip on Talking Smack even where Daniel Bryan like brought it up. Oh my god, you're definitely googling it right now.
I'm literally googling this right now. AJ Styles gives. Wait, Randy Orton confirms AJ Styles flat Earth beliefs and reveals I gave him shit over. Oh my god, are you serious?
I thought you watched the most recent episode of After the Bell with Randy Orton.
No,
So,
you mean the podcast? I must have missed him saying it.
So the week before Backlash, I think Randy Orton was on the podcast.
Oh no, I haven't listened to that episode yet. No, I listened to the one with Undertaker.
Oh yeah, so it's before that, right? So Randy Orton was talking about how Daniel Bryan is the one that gives him the initial shit, because apparently like they were backstage or something, all of them, and like I think Daniel Bryan was like showing some sort of like documentary about the Earth or that kind of stuff, and like they were just playing in the locker room or something, and then like everyone was minding their own business, and then he noticed how AJ was so fixated on the documentary, and he was like, nah, this can't be real, and they were like, sweet, so are you a flat earther? Then he was like, I ain't gonna answer that, but you gotta see some of the facts speak for themselves. So I think Randy gave him a lot of shit for that.
Maybe what it is AJ is just being a little bit too open-minded, and then the other wrestlers just giving him shit about it. Like, you play alpha, ha 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 ha, that kind of thing. Like, he's just considering a little bit of the facts, quote unquote, the evidence provided.
The next cinematic match will be AJ Styles versus someone in a flat earther match.
Flat Earth, and the way you win the match is to throw your opponent off the edge of the flat Earth.
Yes.
And
so the match will be held somewhere in like, I don't know, Antarctica or like South America or some shit like that.
Hey, they can cinematic match.
Oh my god, don't give them ideas. Do not give WWE ideas.
It already happened. Remember Baron Corbin threw Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black off a cliff? That was the flat Earth.
Oh my god.
The WWE headquarters is right next to the edge of the Earth.
Obviously, they survived. So what does that mean about the theory? Is it disputed then? I don't know.
Okay, now we're talking nonsense. So there you go.
Yes, Undertaker. So long for now.
For now, like I said, we'll see him again, Hall of Fame and all that. So, very quickly, let's catch up on the latest. Now, we are recording this on a Wednesday, so we have not watched NXT or AEW Dynamite. In terms of Raw, okay, we have the continuation of Orton versus Edge after Orton punt kicked Christian in the head. And it's interesting that Flair is back in Orton's corner.
But what I find more intriguing about this entire angle is the Edge's promo. Have you seen his promo?
Yeah, where he basically proclaims that the rated R superstar is back, while Orton's legend killer is back.
So no longer a PG superstar anymore.
Yeah, no longer grit is rated R.
I'm just wondering, I know you can give your thoughts on this. Like, they've had the last man standing match. Yep. They've had the greatest wrestling match ever. What can top both of them? What's going to be next? Hell in a Cell?
Maybe. I feel like, okay, now they're calling back to earlier in their career, right? So do you remember them having any sort of specialty match back in the day when they were rated R and legend killer?
TLC for Edge and Moose. I think Edge might pull that out of his arsenal. But you have to understand, you have to take into account the fact that he's currently nursing an injury, a triceps injury, right?
Well, I mean, whether it's a work or not, we know that they're not going to have this clash anytime soon. They have to hold it off until there's a crowd,
Well, in the meantime, who had to show up to defend him and Christian's honor?
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is like, we need a returning legend. Okay, and you know how this is going to play out. Big Show's going to get his head kicked, right? That's the whole point.
Into retirement?
I don't know about that, but
Okay. You wanna hear the weird irony about all of this?
what?
Didn't Big Show return the night after WrestleMania to challenge Drew McIntyre?
Oh yeah. Very randomly.
Do you remember whether he was a face or a heel?
He was a heel. He went heel face again.
Yes.
It's
So
like
guys, we've had our yearly heel face Big Show turn.
he turns just like, it doesn't matter. You just slot him in wherever you need him. He comes back, he's friendly with the Viking Raiders and the Street
The
Profits. Who apparently,
ninjas and all that.
they are best friends now after they had their, final match. We've put an end to the anything you can do, we can do better thing, which, to be fair, yes, there were parts where it was damn lame. It was entertaining, and finally they put a bow on it, and the Viking Raiders put over the Street Profits lah.
Yeah. But we're talking about Big Show again, right? You're right. The audience has been so desensitized to his face and heel turns.
It doesn't matter lah.
Mostly people probably forgot about it until I brought that fact.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody cares. He's just the Big Show now. He's reached that level where, okay, it doesn't matter whether he comes back as a heel or a face. You'll just remember him as the world's largest athlete and whatnot. And yeah, he's definitely here to, prolong this feud. I'm sure he'll have a match with Randy, and Randy will punt kick him. And, because Randy is back to being legend killer. So he needs some legends to kill. So Big Show will be one of them.
It's fair. And the other big news coming out of Raw was that we have a new number one contender for the WWE Championship. It should have been me.
It should have been me. Like we talked about this on the last few episodes as well. It seems like a mini boss. This is all leading up to the big boss, probably Brock Lesnar somewhere down the line or someone else they can build up. But yeah, so Dolph is back and very casually mentioned Robert Roode, 2-for-1 deal, alama. So I don't know how this makes them go.
At least they closed the loop on who's the one that got traded back to Raw.
But what you're saying essentially is one AJ Styles equals to two people.
Isn't that the case?
Yeah. So, I mean, Dolph is going to come in and have an amazing match with Drew, I'm sure. He's going to sell his ass off, but do we really think that he's a threat? No, I don't.
No. We're just here for the match.
Yeah.
We're just here to see the comments that say, Dolph deserves this opportunity, but he won't win, blah, blah, blah. And I do appreciate WWE's effort to have some continuity.
Yeah, there is a story there because they were, Drew essentially turned on Dolph.
And if you go even further back, Dolph was the one that brought Drew up as his main roster bodyguard, right?
Yeah.
So,
main roster bodyguard? When?
Yeah, because before that, Drew McIntyre was in NXT. But he was brought up to the main roster. He's actually the henchman of Dolph Ziggler.
Weren't they tag team partners? Not so much henchmen.
Yeah. They became tag team partners, of course, eventually. But he was being introduced through Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, okay, right. When you say introduced through Dolph Ziggler, I immediately remember Big E Langston because Big E Langston was Dolph's sort of a backup back in the day as well. I see what you mean. So yeah, there is a connection there. So it's not out of the blue. It makes sense. But like I said, does anybody think that poor Dolph, like I said, really talented guy, talked to him before, such a down-to-earth dude as well. Does anybody think that he has a chance?
Put it this way, bro. They are just lining up all the heels so that Drew McIntyre can knock all of them down. Yep.
Pretty much it. Apollo Crews getting quite a few high-profile wins. At least, they're trying to build him up. You can't fault them for that. But at the same time, it's like, okay.
Do you think that they have taken out Lashley from the main event picture completely? Because I think now he's sinking down the card and feuding with Apollo Crews.
Yeah, and it's just such a shame because he has that. He has MVP now to do his talking. So I don't know. Maybe they're trying to build him up again.
I thought his match at Backlash was pretty good though. Yeah. I like him being in the main event. So I hope they keep him strong.
Yeah, we didn't manage to talk about Backlash too much because we had
last week's interview.
Yeah, but apart from the main event, which was the best wrestling match ever, I actually thought that Drew and Lashley put on a very, very good match. I enjoyed that match for what it was.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, Drew has been of late just. in terms of his in-ring work, his matches have been really, really knocking it out of the park. So has Lashley, to be honest. And with this MVP thing, I feel like he should be going up there, high, upper mid card, if not the main event.
I feel that who else has been having a resurgence? I think MVP has been doing a great job in his role, man.
Yeah, right.
Finally, he's like fulfilling his potential 10 years after his debut.
It's
in
okay.
my opinion.
It's okay, Now he's found that perfect spot for him. He's killing it on the mic as well. R-Truth is another guy. Unfortunately, though, lost his 24/7 title. So I guess they're going with this whole comedy route. Now he has ninjas to deal with. I don't know what's next.
I mean, okay lah. Just whatever it is, just leave all this shit in the undercut.
At least Tozawa now has something to do.
Yeah, got some variety. My favorite part of Raw, bro. My favorite part of Raw is actually, surprisingly, the whole Rey Mysterio Seth Rollins situation going on.
Right. So
it's starting to heat up, in my opinion.
Yeah. So now Rey and family and friends have like a win, quote unquote, a moral victory over Seth. So what is Seth gonna do next? And we all know that the turn is coming. It's just a matter of when Dominic is going to turn. He has to, right? He has to.
Okay. The only thing that I'm just waiting for before I give my judgment on Dominic, I want to see him in wrestling tights. I need to see his body how first.
Hey, stop lah, bro.
I can't tell whether he fat or not fat. I really cannot.
It doesn't matter. This is a story. He could be wrestling in jeans and t-shirt for all I care. It is the story of Mysterio.
But if he's gonna take over his dad's legacy, I mean, first of all, he's not small and sprightly like the dad. Okay,
he can do a 619.
He can do a 619. But he's actually a pretty big kid. I feel like his size is like Buddy Murphy or Seth Rollins in itself. So I'm just trying to figure out what kind of wrestler is he gonna be.
Yep. Well, we'll have to wait and see.
And I just don't know, maybe the shirt that he wears is oversized or something.
Maybe.
So I can't tell whether his body is lean or like Samoa Joe. It's really big.
Well, okay. But to be honest though, right now, I feel like even if he can do shooting star presses and all that, for the sake of the storyline, I feel like he should just be, he shouldn't be involved in 5-star classic matches. It should be emotional, story-driven matches where he can do very basic stuff. There is no precedent, there's no training montage. For all we know, he just knows how to do the 619 and the splash.
The sloppier, the better, bro. I want him to be like a inexperienced kid in the ring and play that story out.
Yes. So that he can, progress. We can see him grow. Even if he is a polished wrestler, I feel like he shouldn't be playing a polished wrestler yet.
I agree. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to see all of them mix it up. I want to see Dominic and Rey together in the ring, whether it be as a tag team or like we talked about, turning heel, joining Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins has been doing some of the best work of his career so far as a heel.
Yes, he really has.
I'm happy where he is right now. And I hope that there's a payoff to this story.
Well, the payoff better be Rey versus Dominic, because like you said, I want to see them in the tag team match first, and then they lose the tag team match because Rey didn't want to tag Dominic in or something. There must be some sort of a spark to lead to that Dominic heel turn, right? For Dominic to join Seth Rollins. Like, I thought you were such a great dad, but you don't have the killer instinct, or you don't have it anymore. Some shit like that. That story is just waiting to be told.
We also need to know whether he can act. So there's just a lot of unknown parts, Yeah. Okay, but the last thing about Raw I think we should touch on is, of course, this whole thing between Asuka, Charlotte, Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Do you know that Nia Jax just injured Charlotte again? Do you know what it is?
For reals, in the what? Like the arm thing wasn't a work?
Apparently that was an excuse to take her out of TV because she's going for surgery, bro.
Okay. But when did when did it happen?
So the official, on the website, they said that, Charlotte Flair, due to injury sustained by Nia Jax, she's taking some time off, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I think that is just them playing off the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she's already been injured or carrying some sort of injury. And they just shot the angle to take her out of TV. But the funny thing is, I think WWE is very aware of Nia Jax's reputation.
Yeah.
And they're using it as storyline because the hate that they've been getting on social media is like, Nia Jax again. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so it's not that Nia Jax actually legitimately injured Charlotte, it's just a work They've been so they're just building that heat on Nia. Oh yeah, that's fine then. It makes sense. And I don't know though. Like it seems like they're moving away. Well, okay. Now with Sasha Banks challenging, you know what? Like remember how we were talking about? Oh, Bailey has been very boring. Like to be fair, now that they've won back the titles and they've been showing up on shows and just being obnoxious, I actually kind of like them. You know, I feel like Bailey's heel work has improved quite a lot. She's found her legs as that irritating sort of better than you heel.
You know what she reminds me? I think the best way to describe her, she's a Karen, basically. She's Karen. She's like a typical Karen.
Very entitled, very like
even her hairstyle is a Karen hairstyle.
Yeah. So. No, and the way she treats Sasha Banks as well, like is very interesting to see where this goes. And you know whether I don't think Sasha is going to beat Asuka for the Raw women's title. It's a stepping stone.
I did like how she teased like, oh, I'm jealous of you. I want 2 belts as well. And then went to say, oh, I'm going to challenge Asuka. So I'm liking how interesting Sasha has been as a character, especially.
Yeah, she's gone from being like the boss to almost like she's being manipulated by Bailey, which is a part of her character that was never shown. It was always her manipulating the, hug life Bailey, right?
But if you want to go deeper into it, right, you can assume that actually she's letting herself being played on purpose, waiting for the right time to strike back. I always feel that there's levels to it, bro.
Okay.
She got levels.
She got levels. She's like an onion. But the match at Extreme Rules, mini boss fight match, huh? Asuka is going to... because of the way Asuka and Nia Jax have been, their matches have all been like, non-conclusive. It makes sense, I guess, for them to continue on their feud,
Can I give WWE a credit, some sort of credit that a lot of people have mentioned?
Yeah.
Okay, typically, traditionally, historically, right, the summer months are the most boring part of WWE. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Can you argue that 2020, the summer months have been really newsworthy? Whether by design or not.
Yeah. Well,
but the last few months, like, there's always been something to look forward to in a way.
I don't know if it's because they, like with Backlash, they essentially marketed the whole pay-per-view around one match. So for Extreme Rules, I don't know if we have that yet. What is that one match that everyone wants to see? Because right now we have a whole bunch of mini boss matches. We don't have one. Is it going to be Bray Wyatt versus Strowman?
It's like I said, you're right. It's still developing. They haven't made use of the stipulations yet. We haven't had any hardcore no holds barred matches. But from WrestleMania, Money in the Bank, all the way until Backlash, I just feel that consistently it's been very newsworthy, whatever WWE has put out. So
I think also, like we have said this before, whenever their backs are against the wall, they can come up with a lot of creative shit. And I guess obviously the whole industry's backs against the wall with COVID and no live crowd. So they have been, trying to get stuff done in a creative manner. So,
So definitely looking forward to, what's in store for this couple of weeks. Backlash, actually Rules is like just a couple of weeks away. So things are moving really fast. Sooner or later it's SummerSlam, bro. Yeah,
and then who knows when crowds are going to be back. Hopefully by... Survivor Series is usually when? November?
No, November, yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, I want to say January is when crowds will be back.
We're going to give it a year. I mean, okay, bro, the situation in Singapore is much better than in the US.
Exactly, right?
We have no idea what's going to happen. Let's just hope, as a wrestling fan, let's get finger crossed. Let's cross our fingers.
Fingers crossed.
But,
yes.
But the good thing in terms of the local wrestling as well, for example, Grapple Max, they started opening up, their promotion back for training. Gyms are slowly opening up in Singapore. We might have live wrestling shows coming to Singapore real soon. I'm very optimistic and hopeful that's going to happen.
Well, I mean, we'll have to wait for phase 3 for that to happen. And I just don't know how soon phase 3 is going to be. I don't think it's going to be very soon. I mean, as of right now, you can only go out in groups of 5. So what, you're going to have a wrestling card with 5 people? No, right? So it's not going to happen, not for a while, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't support our local wrestlers and our local wrestling scene as well.
We shall see then. It's going to be a very interesting few weeks. And Oh yeah, before we wrap everything up, we have to thank everyone for checking out our interview with Good Mic Work, Greg Morgan. We've also successfully launched a YouTube page.
That's right.
Please go and subscribe and like, because we're gonna start putting out all our video content there. So right, Mr. Young?
Yeah, and we'll dump up some older interviews that we've done, older episodes, that we really, really enjoyed as well. So look forward to a lot of content there. Yeah, we are on YouTube now. Kick to the Gut on YouTube. Have fun looking at our faces at Foreign's room, at my room.
Yeah, man. If the podcast does well, I might even pimp up my room so it doesn't look like a shitty rental flat.
Can I buy you some lights? Maybe give you some like cool lighting.
Maybe buy me a title belt so I can like hang it around here.
Nice. Right.
Hint.
I'll buy you a styrofoam. The Toys R Us, the kids one.
Can. Actually, I should be the one getting you a birthday gift. Birthday boy, you.
It's okay lah. I'm at the age where birthday just means okay lah, go out and eat. That's it.
Nice. I'm reaching there soon, bro. Reaching there soon.
Yeah, not soon enough. You will never reach there as fast as I reach where I am.
It's all relative. Huh?
It is all relative. So anyway, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. And of course, if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube now, thank you. We appreciate the time. You can, as always, reach out to us on Facebook and on Instagram also. Kick to the Gut. Easy for me to say. On all platforms.
Yeah.
And
don't forget those OG listeners. It's always on Spotify, always on iTunes, on all streaming devices. We are basically trying to get our voices out anywhere and everywhere to those who want to listen.
That's right. So if you don't want to see our face, also you can listen on podcast. If you want to see our handsome faces, also you can look at the YouTube video.
Yeah, I have no comment about that, but yes, we are giving you the liberty of choice.
That's right. In the meantime, though, hey, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. I will go and enjoy my birthday with my wife and my dogs, and we'll catch up again next week. As always, it's Mr. Young.
And it's Foreign in the building. As always, take care.
Make yourself famous. Meeting the immovable object.